All right. Let's go. Okay. How's everybody doing? Huh? Oh, let's get comfy. Let's get together here. All right. I feel like, let's blow up the chat so I can see. Let's see. Yeah. How you doing, Coot? I don't quite understand why the Selke is apparently not important of enough award to feature an award show. I know. Yeah. Well, is that how many of them do they save for that? Colin, how you doing? Everybody was at practice except for Greer, A Chopper, even Samo made an appearance. Oh yeah, those guys got to get on the ice a little bit, right? Yeah, from the looks of Greer, he either got an oblique or a rib injury. So if Boquist has to go in his spot, we'll be all right. Green Louie, how you doing? Chopper, yeah. Barky got the Clancy, the Selke and the King Clancy. It's a pretty cool video that they put out with it. I tried to repost the video on YouTube, but it got copyrighted and they blocked it. so there's that. That's the kind of morning I've had, I suppose. All right, so what do we got today, tomorrow, and then we finally get to play some friggin' hockey again. Green Loogie, yeah, it's pretty cool how they surprised them with the kids' hospital and everything like that. Jobber says, as long as Sturm isn't on the ice, I'm fine with Boquist on the fourth. I would hope that would be the move, right? I would hope. I mean, it just gives you so much more roster flexibility, and that was a surprise, that game that Sturm got out there, to be honest, because usually Maurice will go with what gives you the most flexibility. I guess his idea was if you had to move Nosek up, you still had a 4C out there. I guess that's possibly what he was thinking. Green says, I'm knee deep in taxes and child custody. Oh, God. Oh, God, Green. I'm sorry, man. Jesus. Oh, I've been there. I've been there. Jesus. Coot says, I'm pretty sure the award show was just Hart, Norris, and Vesna. So the Adams, Calder, Selke, Gregory, Ladybank, King Clancy are all excluded from any award show mentions, let alone announcements. Yeah, I mean, why have a show if it's just the three, right? I don't understand why they don't just save them all for a show, but is what it is, right? Hey, John. My two free bets, I bet at the beginning of the season, 100 euros each for Florida winning the cup remains alive. Should I safe bet against them? No, don't put the juju out there. Hey, Pente, how you doing, bud? Checkers win 5-1 against the Rockets on Fluffy's birthday yesterday. Fantastic. Yeah, we took Leia to the river. What I can say is the first couple times I took Sonia to the river, she was pretty skittish about the water. And then within a month, she would be the first one running into the water. So unfortunately, the tide was a little bit high, so there wasn't much shoreline for her to walk on. So I got to bring her out there during low tide so she can get, so she can kind of get acclimated to things. It was windy, it was high tide. It wasn't great for her first time. Penta, yeah, Barkov won the Selke and the King Clancy. Everything's good so far, Mr. Vids. Jack says, Evan Rodriguez just did an interview with a YouTuber, and he was raging about the ref saying the call on him was the worst in history. You sure that wasn't AI? Are you sure that wasn't AI, Jack? Chopper says maybe put Boquist in the first with Barkov and Reinhart, and then Rodriguez in the fourth. Nah, I don't think I'd want to do that against Edmonton. Communist, yeah, the video, the video with Barkov, it was pretty cool. Like I said, I tried to repost it to YouTube, and it got copyrighted and blocked. So it was fantastic. Green says losing the hairline last 2 years, but fellas, if I can get this done, the Canadian government will owe you 4 years of back date. Woo! Jeez. Did he win the Flying Fluffy Golden Dog Phone Award? I hadn't even thought about that, Eyes. Huh. Maybe we'll start an award show after the season. Huh? Maybe we'll do that. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Oh, it's on the channel Tobin. Yeah, he's a radio host. He's a radio host. I'd have to watch that. I guess he's on the radio station that the Panthers are on or something like that. Looks like Fluffy and Stanley Cup on pubs for cup advertisement. You'd have to. What do you mean, Green? I'm confused. Looks like Fluffy in the Stanley Cup on pubs for cup advertisement. Are you saying he's on TV? Tobin was the E-Rod interview. Gotcha. He was really going off on the officials, huh? Oh, was it the embellishment one? Was that the one? The one where they got him for embellishment? Okay. Gotcha. I think that would be the one, right? Jack. No, he they don't count Tobin as a YouTuber because he's credentialed media. They have a radio show there in Miami. So they don't count them as a the league doesn't count him as a YouTuber is what I'm trying to get to. Mr. Vids, I just have to shorten it. I guess you're allowed to use copyrighted music if the short is under a minute. It's the music that's at the end. So I just go back and chop off the music at the end, and then it should be okay. Yeah, the heat's on QAM. Thank you, Gator. Yeah. Mr. Vids, yeah, you're always disputing stuff. I know most of the time it'll expire after 30 days. That's correct. Most of the time. What's the closest I've ever been to lightning? So I got my fishing rod got not exactly struck by lightning, but I was on the south end of the Holliver Pier years ago. The pier no longer exists. And we had a thunderstorm coming in, and the lightning, I saw the flash, and the hair on my arms and head stood up. And right before I supposed some of the electricity was going to hit my rod, I dropped the fishing rod. Of course, that went into the water and I lost the rod. But I'm fairly certain had I held on to the rod, I probably would have gotten the shock of my life. Hey, JC, how you doing, bud? I didn't know that. I heard that Jack's asking about what do I think about them running a 5K right before the finals with a short break. So I'll be honest with you. I don't know for a professional athlete like them. Like, is 5 miles getting on the treadmill? Is that like nothing? You know what I mean? Is that something that they would just consider, a light day at work? I'm trying to think back when I was that age. I mean, I jogged 7.5 miles 5 times a day, and I never even really got sore. So maybe they felt like it wasn't a big deal for them. I get what you're saying. No disagreement there. Green Lugie says it's Pups for the Cup adoption thing the NHL does every year. They put the dogs in team jerseys and snap a pic this time of year. Okay, NHL Pups for Cup. So you mean there's a St. Bernard? Is that what you're saying, Green? Let me see. NHL Pups for Cup. Let's see. Okay, so it's like a rescue thing, right? I see. Oh, I see. They got him. They've got. You know what? It looks like a Burmese mountain dog. I see what you're saying. They've got the puppy coming out of the cup there. It looks like a Burmese mountain dog. Very, very similar to a St. Bernard. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That sounds like something that's fun. Maybe I'll talk to Kyle about maybe streaming that. We'll have to see. That looks like fun. Jack, yeah, the Oilers are resting. No doubt. Panthers don't always seem to be, I don't want to say they don't do the smart thing, but I just don't. Maybe I know that sometimes when I was a bodybuilder and I was in the gym all the time, like you'd think your body wants a week off, but then sometimes your body only needed like 2 days off, and the week off can kind of be a little bit too much. But I get what you're saying for sure. Maybe you're trying to archive an old wrestling event from '94. Jeez. Oh, it was a 5K walk. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Guitar Crow, I fainted one time when I was slicing an orange, and I cut myself, and I saw the blood, and I fainted, and I fell on the kitchen floor and broke my arm. I used to faint a lot. Yeah. Real says Tobin and Leroy aren't big national media people. They're just local guys down here. Leroy is a retired NFL player. Yeah. Guitar Crow, random place I've fallen asleep. I have fallen asleep editing the recap twice this year while I was doing the subtitles. So 2-0 Panthers up. And then go back to finishing the subtitles. I fell asleep twice this year in the middle of editing the recap. Some were pushing baby carriages. Wesley says there's a clip going around calling Maurice disrespectful because he told Kachuk he didn't have to include the Panthers organization in the cup pick if he didn't want to, and also he didn't shake Rod's hands. So for whatever reason, and I don't even really disagree with it, because the way Maurice put it was everybody in the pick, and he says, Chucky, it's your call. You made the choice last year. I think it might have something to more likely do with superstition. I would think, because they're obviously, if you watch my channel, there's a short with Maurice last year telling him don't touch that effing trophy after they won the a conference again. So Maurice didn't tell him he didn't have to include. He just said, everybody in the picture is that it's your call, Chucky. So they're kind of, people like to hate on the Panthers. They're just kind of tweaking things to suit themselves, I guess. Now I thought he shook Rod's hand. I know they had that discussion and everything else. I'm surprised that Maurice waited till after the series to have that discussion with him. That seems a little bit awkward, but the whole labels of disrespect and everything. I think there's just some fan bases that are just going to try to find whatever they can to hate on the Panthers with. George says, how do you feel about the finals? Do you think the Oilers will pull something off? I mean, they're going to be better than last year, so we're going to have to be better than last year too. My series preview, to me, the key to it all is Bobrovsky. He's going to have to be at his best ever for us to win this series. That to me is what I feel can be the difference maker. If we allow McDavid on 2 breakaways a game, but Bobrovsky stops him, that could easily be the difference between winning or not. JC says, from bodybuilding to body slamming pancakes. Yeah, I gotta go to the store and get the pancake. Man, I gotta buy all the new stuff for the cup pancakes. Yeah. It was pretty much agree between Maurice and Brendan Moore. Brendan Moore, that they wouldn't. Right, okay. Was I ever a wrestling fan? No, that definitely not that I dislike it. I just was never a really big fan. Mike, you say it was pre-agreed to? Huh. Well, then that would make more sense, right? Yeah, Barkov won to Selke and to King Clancy. Yeah. Guitar Crow on a Walmart garden section, but that's funny. Yeah, Reinhardt got second place on the Selke. When's the last time? First off, it's the first time in NHL history that somebody won the Selke and the King Clancy. I wonder how many times the top 2 vote getters for the Selke have been on the same team. Dangle picked us in 7. Well, he had us right. He had it right against the Leafs, Sean. He had it right against the Leafs, so there's that. Mike, yeah, no, I don't disagree with Maurice there. I says, did you hear that this is the second time in NHL playoff history that both teams that made the finals never had home ice advantage in the first 3 rounds? Wow, that's right. Yeah. Huh. Gotcha, Mike. Green. The King of the North versus the South Beach Bully, right? George says, I heard this guy say that what will keep the Oilers in it is if Skinner can hold up in the first few games so that they can keep it close. I mean, Edmonton, I'm not saying throw game 1 away, but the first period of game 1, I wouldn't pay any attention to how it goes, regardless of what the score is. Their energy level is going to be off the charts. Hey, Robert, how you doing, bud? Yeah, Craig. Can't let Leon crack Barkov again. No. Dangle says, Dangle keeps changing his picks. He said the Oilers would win in the finals because they're dirty and then switched us. Huh. That's interesting. Robert, the King Clancy is like for community service, community outreach. I'm butchering the description, but it's basically some, guys that give to charity and work like that. Hey, Silva. Declare Kanye West. Oh my God. Don't get us started. Thank you, Green, for the explanation there. Okay. Wesley, Edmonton, 30% on the power play, 23% for Florida. The Panthers' PK is going to be another key for sure. Again, right back to Bobrovsky, right? Real says, I refuse to live in a reality where we become the first team in decades to lose to a Canadian team, so we're just not going to lose. That was me last year, Real. I was like, they would not have my team lose the Stanley Cup Finals and my dog die, and I knew the dog was dying. So that I just refused to live in the reality of anything else that was possible. Here we go. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, bud. Thank you, Robert. It says, good luck Wednesday, even though I'm rooting against y'all. I would have thought you would have wanted to wait for Toronto to be the first Canadian team. Robert, I thought you would have been waiting for the Leafs to do it, or you don't think you'll live that long. Coot says Barkov is really the engine in this series. They had the most success last year in the finals when they were able to get offense with Barkov on the ice because of the way he can shut down McDavid. The third line's going to play into that, though, too. Because Lundell is better, Luosterainen's better, and obviously Marchand is light years better than Tarasenko. So if we have Barkov out there shutting down McDavid, shutting down meaning limiting, I'm not so sure Edmonton's going to have a good time with our third line. Sean, how much of a factor is not having Hyman going to make? Is that like us missing Forsling or Greer? In between. If the Panthers were to lose Forsling, okay, no. I would think of it maybe like, I don't know, maybe being out Reinhart. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, maybe being out for Hagee. It's hard because, they're different players. But certainly not as bad as if we were out Forsling. Wesley, yeah, I saw that video. It's a lot of fun. Please return Robert his $5. They screwed up the audio. That sucks. Robert says, if I guarantee Toronto can win a cup before you die, you root for the Panthers. They shouldn't. I wouldn't be breaking up that team. Like, think about it. If the Panthers win the cup again, the Leafs took the two-time champs to 7 games. Like, I understand the fan base and how it looked losing those 2 games big like that. I understand that. But, Florida's not going to be around forever, right? Like, could they got pretty close this last time. You just can't overpay for Marner, though. What if we put Barkov and Marchand on every line? That would work. Yeah. Exactly, Real. Coot says Reinhart is also a big key because we will need him, Barkov, and Forsling to be the top of their game, especially when they're on with McDavid and Draisaitl. Right. Eyes, we haven't heard anything, but from what I saw, it looked like either an oblique or a rib injury because it was he was putzing with his ribs and really wincing in pain when he was turning. George says, well, the Leafs can win. All they need to do is stop overpaying players. And so far, Marner is gone. You can get Tavares for cheap. Yeah. Silva says Edmonton losing Hyman would be like us losing Mikla or Swaggy. That sounds about right. Yeah. Or Chucky's 25 production ignoring the off-ice leadership, right? Real says Hyman being out didn't seem to impact them against Dallas at all. That's true, but that's also because Peter DeBoer sucks as a coach. You know, I trust Maurice far more than I trust DeBoer. But it's not like whoever they're going to put in Hyman. It's not like they suck. You know what I mean? The same thing with Florida, right? You know, we've got so many guys you can mix and match guys, and sometimes the new stuff works. Hey, Adonis. Boston, Wesley says, Boston informed Joe Sacco he will not remain head coach. Peter DeBoer may go to Boston? Oh, God. Please do. I says if the Leafs sign Bennett, they win the cup. No. I disagree with that. Green Loogie says, I never truly slept on Forsling, but I woke completely up to his ability when watching him hum down the ice with speed after McDavid a few times. Yep. No, he's really developed his game, obviously. I wonder how close to being able to skate like that he was when they put him on waivers. Remember, that was Carolina. I mean, their whole thing is defense. Jeez. Kachunka says, crossing our fingers, but let's say we have a good series. The first and second line dry up, McDavid and Dry. Is there a scenario where Marchand is the leading scorer? Might be the leading points getter. I don't know about leading in goals, but he could, like you're saying, if those top two lines kind of cancel themselves out. Real Cinema says, I think the Leafs should pay Marner and Bennett $14 million each. I agree. I say they should offer Bennett 14 and then he still turns them down and takes 8 with us. Coot says most of the continent will be against us this time of year, except for that small pocket in Alberta called Calgary, who will stand with us against Edmonton. Yeah. Yeah, Bennett is – I don't think someone like Bennett is going to fix the Leafs' problems. I don't think Bennett is a fixer. I love Sam Bennett. Don't get me wrong. But you need him to be surrounded by the right players. You know, he's not going to go out there and get you 35, 40 goals. And he's not going to just do it all by himself. I mean, he's played with Huberdeau and then he's played with Tkachuk. Two very different players, but especially playing with Tkachuk, those two guys on the same line together is really what helps Bennett become who he is. Robert says Bennett won't go to Toronto or he'll regret it if he does. He'll get into scrums and look around and not a Leaf to be seen to help him out. Yeah. Wesley says they could lose McDavid and still beat Dallas. Yeah, Dallas just did not put up. They just did not put up much of a fight. DeBoer and Maurice are close friends or grew up together or something. Maurice has got the better haircut. Come on, Pete. It's time, bro. It's time to shave it. Like Maurice has at least got like enough coverage on top to make it viable. What DeBoer is doing with that whole with the just the ring and the one curl that goes all the way around, it's like, come on, man, just shave that. Just shave that, please. The boys would respect you more if you just shaved it. Eyes, I know, Huberto. He must realize, he's like, was I the problem all along? Silva says Edmonton has next man up mentality just as strong as the Panthers. They threw Perry in Hyman's place. Yep. And he got a goal. Yeah, well, you can't leave the dude alone in front of the net, right? Robert, yeah, it's going to take more than Bennett. Hey, Chris, how you doing, bud? I responded to your email, buddy. Appreciate you. Who says, Jaws, what's more impressive? DeBoer going 9-0 in Game 7s or finishing the past 6 seasons he coaches a full season with a conference final loss? I mean, on one hand, someone might say that eventually he would get proof that everything works like Maurice did. But on the other hand, you know, a team is going to be a reflection of their coach in many ways. And I mean, I give them credit for doubling down on it, but damn, like saying that they had enough of a sample size and that Ottawa lost 6 out of 7 to Edmonton, it's like you just proved that it's not the goalie. You're telling me that you lost 6 out of 7 games because Otter can't beat Edmonton, and it has nothing to do with the fact that you can't defend against these guys? Like, his rationalization literally disproves what he's trying to say. Otter doesn't just suddenly suck every time they play Edmonton. Your defense can't handle them. It's wild. Green Loogie, yeah, solid ticket prices, right? Yeah, that's right. Carolina used to have E2 and Forsling. Good point, Real. Wesley says Leafs are rumored to be picking up Bennett for 8 and Marchand for 4. It's going to take more than that, though, because we can give Bennett 8 and Marchand 4. The Panthers have money to do that. So they're going to have to give if they want to take both of those guys, they're going to have to give them 10 and 6, because Panthers have enough money to give them 8 and 4, unless term is a problem. Silva. Colin says, I found a Scott Mellamy shirt yesterday, but why is everything for Van Beesbrook so expensive? I don't know. It's a good question. I've got an old Van Beesbrook shirt hanging up in here somewhere from when I was 200 pounds. I have a lot of Panther shirts I don't wear because I lost so much weight when I got the Lyme disease that none of my stuff fits anymore. They're like garbage bags on me. Right. No, I know Marchand and Bennett are both from Toronto, but I just can't imagine that they would want to leave the situation they have here in Florida. Oh, yeah, the Winter Classic jersey green. That's a good idea. George, no, don't tell DeBoer, don't shave it. So says Maurice's breakthrough was finally realizing his team didn't need to play all 82 games like it was the playoffs. Seems like he's also becoming more fond of the young guys too as the years go on. And that's a really good point, because that's what it finally took. You can't play 82 games like that and expect to have the juice left for the playoffs. But it also helps to have the amount of talent that we have where, you know, if we played 10 games in January and we give 70% effort, we still likely could go 6-4 and tread water. You got to have a lot of talent to be able to not play at your best a lot in the regular season and still win games. Kachukin says DeBoer knew he was losing and just wanted to kill Otter's confidence for the Olympics. Oh, my God. That's funny. Yeah, Real says I heard the Leafs are getting Ovi, Crosby, Marchand, McDavid, and Bennett Ekblad for $4 million each. Marchand's not from Toronto. He's a Nova Scotia boy. I don't know these things. All I know is I can't imagine that they would want to leave, especially Bennett. Like to go to Toronto to put up with what would be coming for him from that fan base. And talk about hypocritical. I want to see if he does end up in Toronto. I want to hear how all the Toronto fans who said Bennett was a massive scumbag, then what are they going to say? Hey, Austin, yeah, we're ready, man. George says the Florida team really reminds me of Chicago back in the day. Yeah, it's weird living it from this end of things, you know. Austin says, if the Oilers win, will I be very disappointed, or will I be like we won in 2024? I think I'm more realistic this year. Like against Vegas, we really looked like we were the team of destiny, right? But we just ran out of energy. Last year, like I've said, once we got to the finals and I knew Fluffy was on his way out, I didn't leave any room in my brain for the possibility that the Panthers would lose that cup. This year, they are really going to have some kind of special effort to overcome Edmonton's motivation, because that's the motivation we just used last year to come back and win, right? You lose, you come all the way back, you get there. The motivation of trying to not lose 2 cups in a row is going to be real, that's strong. And that's why I say Bobrovsky's going to play the biggest role in this, because McDavid's going to get breakaways. It's going to happen, right? You know, Draisaitl's going to walk a guy. It's going to happen. And miraculous saves. That's what it's going to take. Robert says McDavid's going to Toronto. Colin, Yanni Gourde re-signs with the Lightning at 6 years, 2.3 million. Damn, isn't he already old? Isn't Gourde already old? That's a good signing for them, though. John says, I can see Bennett's play come crashing down to his Calgary level, barely scoring 30 points, and a ghost at times if he leaves, leaving the new team and the fans massively disappointed, paying him $10 million. I mean, you don't want to see that happen to a guy, but he's not a $10 million player. He's a guy that fits our system perfectly and does deserve to get paid. He definitely deserves to get paid. Trey says, I had ChatGPT break down the take-home difference for a $10 million player in Ontario and Florida, and you only clear $1.6 million more in Florida. You make way more than that in endorsements in Toronto. Interesting. So basically, 10 in Toronto is like 8.5 in Florida, but like you said, with the endorsements and everything, there's no Dairy Queen endorsements worth tens of millions of dollars in Florida, Trey? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, the non-state taxpayers still have to pay federal income tax. Yeah. I wonder if people aren't aware of that. Wesley says the Panthers made the Lightning lose Stamkos, Bruins lose Marchand, and now the Leafs with Marner, but they couldn't make Edmonton lose Draisaitl. If the Panthers win again, McDavid could leave next year. Wouldn't that be crazy? I don't know who's going to pay him. Edmonton is, if they don't win this year, I can't imagine what they would need to do to get closer except pay a goalie, right? Like if Edmonton had Otter or somebody like that, I mean, good luck. Real. Silva. I know. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know why he doesn't just make up his mind to do that. Andre Vasilevsky could do that. Patrick Waugh could do that. I mean, Patrick Waugh just said, "That's it. They threw rats at me. You're not getting any more goals." You know, I'm being sarcastic, obviously. Yeah. Robert says it's way too long between games. It's a bit much. I wouldn't mind a game being tomorrow, right? So, but I know Kyle's enjoying the break because especially during the second round and really during the conference finals, we're going every night. So I know he's enjoying the break for sure. Trey says Bennett's a $6 million regular season player and a $12 million playoff player. That's why it's hard to pin down his value. Yeah. Just what is he? 28, 29? I mean, the Panthers are going to have to pay the piper at some point. If it takes $8 million at 6 years, you do it. Because we only have so many more years left of the window anyway. You know? All right, Colby. Thanks, bud. Fly says, I completely understand the business side of the game, why players should leave a good situation in order to make more money. I mean, I get it. I mean, I wouldn't. I just wonder how much guys wanting to go home actually, like people talking about Toronto and Bennett. I just wonder how much that actually plays into their situation, right? Or because Bennett could also always sign like a 4 or 5 year deal in Florida, win a few more, and then go to Toronto at the end, go be their 4C for a couple of seasons. That's not a bad idea. Colby, yeah, Dangle said Cats in 7. I got to watch that one. Austin, yeah, I could only dream back in the dark days of 3 straight final. No joke. Never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind. I always kind of thought if we ever make it and we win, it's just like, okay, I'm okay not making the playoffs the next 5 years. We won a cup. Never thought this was coming. Colin says, what if McDavid goes to the Rangers like what Messier did back then? You still got to have a team around him, though, right? Messier was kind of like the final piece to that puzzle, if memory serves me correct, Colin, which it might not because it was a long time ago. But I kind of remember Messier being like one of the final pieces to the puzzle. So, where would McDavid fit? I mean, it's the salary hit is going to be what gets you. If now, when Montreal keeps improving, would he go to Montreal if they got a goalie? I don't know. He's invested a lot of time there, obviously, in Edmonton. And with the high salaries of him and Draisaitl, etc., I don't know what more they can do. Hey, David, how you doing, bud? Oh, that damn work. Yeah, Trey, it's kind of like for Hagee, but he's an even better regular season player than Bennett, right? Colby, we have been hot on offense. There's no doubt about that. Is it 5 straight seasons or is it 6? I think it's 6, right? Because it was Tampa for the 3 years, and now it's been us, right? There was nobody in between. Wesley says Edmonton's the oldest team in the league, and McDavid will be 30 the year he signs his next contract. He'd be a fool to stay if they don't win the cup this year. Huh? You think that they would move him? I don't know. Speaking too far ahead because they could still we still have a whole ass Stanley Cup final to play, right? Kachukin says, also for taxes, they don't pay the jockey taxes being paid for each game on the road on a signing bonus. Someone like Matthews could avoid paying most of his taxes by flying back to Arizona frequently. Isn't that weird how that all works? I mean, the whole tax system is absurd. The VAT, for you guys that sell on eBay, you might know what I'm talking about. But what the overseas taxes have done to people is just robbery. Somebody could buy a picture from me, a document, an antique document that was something that went down in 1850 in Colorado here in the United States. And somebody wants to collect that document over in Europe, and their government's going to charge them a value-added tax that many times is almost equal to the whole shipping cost. I mean, it's just crazy what these people in some places have to pay in taxes just to get something set in. And it's on an item that country had nothing to do with. There was no, it wasn't produced. It's a piece of paper. I've seen people pay, $40 for an item that only costs $7, and the rest is in shipping and taxes. Colby says McDavid would be a Marino situation. Yeah, well, we still got to fit. We got a lot of work to do, right? Silva says, I don't mind, gives urinating stream more time to make his video. Right. Yeah, Cade, very proud of Barkov for winning those trophies. Very well deserved. The video they put out was pretty cool. Austin, yeah, we missed a couple of games, but obviously the intent is for every game. I just can't get over the fact that they've made the cups in every year since we started streaming. Like, talk about nothing you would have never been able to say, to predict that, Hey, 58, how you doing, bud? Flight, it was the second part to the comment. Hold on, buddy. Hold on, bud. Chat's going pretty fast, so I miss it. Oh, but Bennett and Marchand would really have to be gluttons for punishment to leave this situation. Yes. Yeah. 100% agree there. Right? Oh, my God, the Geico checking ad. Oh, my God, it won't stop. It won't stop, Guitar Crow. I watched one of the Panthers, the Bill Zito press conference was 19 minutes long, and they showed me that Geico ad 5 times in the same ad, 5 times in the 19 minutes of that video. Trey says, you get what you pay for. All those countries have amazing public transportation and healthcare. Meanwhile, all the roads are starting to look like Mississippi, even the places we care about. Well, to an extent, I understand what you're saying. I just feel like the idea that some piece of paper that a farmer wrote a note on in 1850 that the buyer owes the government taxes because he wants to buy that piece of paper 150, 175 years later. That to me seems like a jack, like robbery. I don't care what they're giving me for it. You know what I mean? It's like there's certain things that just don't make no common sense. George is asking about the commercial breaks and just play the same one over and over again. in middle of May, YouTube made a change to how they are handling the videos that roll in the middle of video, the ads that roll in the middle of videos. They made a change. They're trying to couch it as, hey, creators, you can make more money this way, but it's leading to stuff like what I just said, where the same, if Geico's paying for targeted advertising because they want hockey people to see the hockey advertisement, then YouTube is just, they are like quadruple dipping. They really are. It's not a good sign because they're couching it in a manner that they're saying that they want the creators to make more money. But what it really is that YouTube must be needing to get the extra revenue in. Kachukin says, one thing is for certain, Marshy got exactly what he wanted in the trade because he has a chance to play for a cup. If we would have bounced out early, that would have made it, that would have not looked good. Yeah. Austin thinks the Panthers can make it back next season. I mean, we got a long way to go in terms of seeing free agents, right? There could be some turnover and change with this team that we don't like. You'd like to, obviously, to me, you got to keep Bennett and then go from there with what you can and cannot do. But the flip side to this is that if for some reason we don't keep Bennett and Ekblad, we got a lot of cap space to go out there and get some good players. You know what I mean? So that is the flip side to that. It's not like we're just going to have junk as their replacements. So you hate to lose guys, but we will have money to go out there and get some decent players and maybe add some heavy-duty reinforcements to the defense if those guys walk. Oh, the fake son and the dad. Oh, God. Is that the one you're talking about? You're not talking about the Safe Light Repair. Is that the one, David? Trey. Yeah, like the estate taxes and stuff. Yeah. Taxes in general, sure, I get what you're saying. But it's just odd how, the Polish government gets 30% of the value of some piece of paper that some farmer signed 150 years ago. It's like, where's the line, Oh, you meant the commercial during the games, George? Gotcha. YouTube's doing the same thing, right? Yeah, it's a good move for Tampa, for sure, with Yanni Gourde. Wesley says Panthers gave up a first-round pick to rent Marchand. Better win the cup or the future is hurt bad. I don't know, man. Zito's been doing pretty good with those first-round picks. He's with the exception of the 1 year, which didn't do good at all. The Giroux and the Sherratt deal, that was bad. Donna says Jamie Benn and Sam Bennett want to stay with their respective teams, but I do like the idea of having a lot of money by letting Bennett walk. I mean, I would rather keep him, but if, the Ekblad thing, that's a whole nother ball of wax. If you could keep Bennett and keep Marchand by letting Ekblad walk, I don't know what kind of money he's going to get. It's such a hard thing to figure out what Ekblad, what he would get out there. Because he is a really good defenseman with the right system, right? But I mean, Forsling makes up for a lot of Ekblad's inconsistencies. So Ekblad might find a hard time. I would assume nobody's going to be picking him up to make them like he's the number one, like the true number one, because he's not that anymore. But yeah, some of the AHL guys are going to be moving up as well. I would expect Sordiff, right? I don't know why Zito has a bad reputation for drafting, though, because it's not, to me, it's not based in reality. He's had two number one, he's literally used two picks on players, two number one picks on players. Got Lundell and Samoskevich. And, some of the guys that we've had, or could probably be NHL players on other teams right now. Sordif might have made another team. Thinking of the other guy that we traded, he's still playing that big defenseman that Pittsburgh picked off of waivers from us a few years ago. I'm not sure about if the games are TNT or ABC. Fly Guy says, Jaws, I think we're going to see some good players come in on great deals, trades in the next few years with this culture that Zito and Maurice are building. That's the interesting thing. If you lose Bennett, I'm sure that there will be people ready to step up and replace, but you wouldn't be replacing Bennett. Lundell would move to 2C, and then you'd have to replace Lundell. Yeah, exactly, Kachuk. So you'd say, Trey says, let Bennett walk, promote Lundell to 2C, and sign Taves to be 3C? Huh. That has the chance to blow up in our face, don't you think? Austin says, Bedman says script is Oilers in Canada ends drought. Yeah, I very happy. Yeah, and the Checkers are looking dominant right now. Let's look at here. Let's just do this. Hold on a second. I got a minute. We've looked this up before. Let's see. So Zito's first draft pick was Lundell. And then past that, Sordif, he took in the third round of that year, 2020. And then he took Levi and turned Levi into Sam Reinhart with that pick. Then in 21 draft, we had 6 picks. Samoskevich was our first round pick there, and we see how he's playing. Now 22, obviously these guys, you wouldn't expect them to be much in the league just yet. We didn't even have a 1 or a 2 in the 22 draft. But we did end up with Jack Devine. We got Vilmanis. Alsher, I know some people like him. 23, we had a 2 where we took Sachin, and then we had a 4, 5, 6, 7. So we really haven't been drafting a lot of players. And then last year, we didn't have a 1 at all. I know a lot of people like Hunter St. Martin. We took him in the 6th. Linus Eriksson is another center that we took last year. But he's only had 1, 2, 3, 4 2s and 2 1s to take. He didn't take Ludwig. That was the defenseman I was talking about. That was Talon's last draft, was Ludwig. And he actually took Cole Schwint, which we helped turn into, obviously, Kachuk. Come back here. Kachuk, yeah, I mean, no disagreement there. Oh, come back here. Fly Guy says Marchand can play 3C. I would put Luosterainen possibly at 3C. I mean, if you did that, Fly Guy, if you did it, if you went Barkov, Lundell, Luosterainen, and you had Samoskevich on that second line, you'd have money to go out. You'd have money to sign Marchand. You'd probably want to bring up another younger player to be on that third line for the regular season. And then if you needed to fill that spot with a trade, you could do it. But that would give us money to like really solidify the defense even more. Get a little bit younger. Go Forsling, Jones, Mikula with a new guy. Kulikov with a new guy. And have Schmidt at 7. I hate to lose guys, but we're set up to replace them if we did need to. George says, I have a question. Does any player come to mind when you think of someone who's got traded from a team and then later down the line they sign back with that team again? Who got traded from a team and then later on down? I mean, that's happened a few times, right? Because that's Kulikov right off the bat, right? You already says I think it's relatively easier to replace 3C than to give Bennett a king's ransom. Well, technically, yeah, you can replace a 3C. But Lundell being in that 3 spot has given us an advantage almost against every team that we've played because they can't match up against him because he's a 2C masquerading as a 3C. So if you move Lundell, let's just assume, for argument's sake, that you move Lundell to 2C and you get the same production. That can be argued, but let's just assume that you would. You have a giant hole at 3C. Is Luosterainen going to be the same type of player Bennett would be or Lundell was? Maybe not. Now, you could keep Luosterainen on the left and you re-sign Marchand and go get another 2C to play at 3C. It could work. I guess it just depends on how many years Bennett wants. It's tough decisions. Trey says Taves and Marchand on the same line would be a buddy cop movie. David says Marchand's great, but getting old and coming off 3 knee surgeries, he stays or retires when we win. Ooh. Oh, Teravainen, yeah. Coot says Zito makes his money through finding the reclamation projects and the looked-over guys and proving that they're actually good NHL players. He's definitely built a good pro scout department. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just when you go down the list of the guys that we've traded for, he's just been on point. Trey says we haven't had a first-round pick since we wore the leaping cat, and yet our farm is loaded. Zito can draft. Austin, yep, I agree there, bud. Yeah, it's hard to beat Paradise 8 months out of the year. Yeah. Trey says, would not be shocked if the third line next season is E2 centering Marchand and your son, Jack Devine. Damn, you've had a lot of kids, Trey. Trey's had a lot of kids. David says, I'm just a lotto hit away from really enjoying this place. I'm just a lotto hit away from being back. Duckling says, do I think Skinner will have one of his meltdown games this series? I don't want to predict him doing poorly because that could blow up in my face. What I'll say is I think Bubba's going to have a couple of his just absolute insane stolen games. That's what I think we're looking for. Greg says move Asplund and Sortive to the third line next year. Can you imagine a Paul Maurice coach team with 2 rookies on the ice? He can barely stomach Samoskevich. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and roll. I got to get to the grocery store. We'll be back at noon tomorrow. Obviously, I'm working on something. I got something coming out here, but it's taking me a little bit extra time to put it together. And that's it, man. The beat goes on. We got hockey here in just a couple of nights. And then in the middle of the Stanley Cup Finals, on some of the nights that we're not streaming games, I'm going to be starting up the men's channel a little bit again. But we're going to be doing some streams over there. So I'll make a post about that. I'm going to try to have live streams over there on that channel so that we can chat about some of the more important things in life, like, is happy wife, happy life really the way to go? We're going to ask Trey about that question. Trey definitely needs to know the answer to that question. So we're going to get to the bottom of those things. So, all right, everybody. Appreciate all the support. Make sure you guys, if you haven't watched the Hockey Guys video on how the team was created, it's a good one. He actually sticks up for us about the whole taxes thing. So it's pretty good. All right, everybody. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you. Yeah, don't forget the pancake mix. Thank you, 58. Yeah, I probably would have forgotten it. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.